just as we do, I'll introduce Moein and Fabio Masi. Moein has just joined us as a new ambassador for our Green Buildings community on the platform. And Moein is here at the very kind behest of Gerardo Gonzalez, who is the ambassador for our water management community. Again, in the interest of time, we don't have long left, but we will give Fabio and Moein their full time. If people can bear with us for that, we'll just run over a couple of minutes. And here are Moein and Fabio. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm Moein, and I'm the founder and CEO of Biotonomy. And we basically, for the past decade, have been focusing on developing autonomous buildings, but with nature-based solutions. And really, I learned nature-based solutions through ancient civilizations. That's where my knowledge came from. I used to work on some of the biggest construction projects in the world, and I quickly realized how destructive conventional construction is. So I decided to leave my job and start focusing on techniques that was more healthy for the planet. And going into the market, looking at what the market was offering, I wasn't really convinced. I wasn't really convinced with only focusing on energy efficiency or just adding greenery to the facades. I was looking for something way more bigger. And when I would look at ancient civilization, I learned so much fascinating things. And basically, we developed the concept of biotonomy based on innovating by combining ancient knowledge with nature's intelligence and integrating modern technology into it as well. And basically, we focus on architecture, construction, education is a big part of our engine as well. And we also do vertical ecosystems. And we operate globally, and we're based in Malaga. And what I would like to share with you today is what we're seeing, the current growing trends in the green building market. And the trends of today have very much just focused a lot on the exterior of the building. So green facades and green roof is typically what people think of when it comes to green buildings. The challenge there is that a lot of architects and developers are jumping on this without really understanding what this means. Because green buildings, green facades and green roofs require a lot of water consumption. And if you don't understand biology and ecosystems, it also adds a lot of cost to it if you choose the wrong kind of plants and you're not able to create an ecosystem. So we're seeing this as a big challenge, but we're also seeing it as a big opportunity to start, for us, nature-based enterprise, to come in here. There's a market here because the development industry have been doing a lot of greenwashing, not necessarily based on bad intentions, but based on the lack of solutions on the market. And what we're seeing now is that there's this big opportunity where we can come in and help these projects to basically start using nature as a function and not only as decoration. So saying that, what we've identified as the growing trends in the coming next decade is buildings that are able to basically have an ecological role in their ecosystem. And how this can be achieved is through several ways. So there are many projects, there's many buildings out there today where buildings have achieved to be able to heat and cool themselves naturally by basically using the laws of nature, by integrating physics into the design of the building. Another very growing big trend in the industry is water harvesting. Like ancient civilizations, we can design our cities and buildings to harvest water, to filter water, and produce our own drinkable water. Natural ventilation is also becoming very popular in the industry. There's many projects that have mimicked the way ancient civilizations would ventilate their buildings, and they've shown very amazing results. Then another big topic is recycling water. The amount of wastewater buildings produce is a lot. And with nature-based solutions, and Fabio will speak about this, there's so much potential of reusing the wastewater for regenerating ecosystem, but also for producing food. In our case, we've developed a prototype in Malaga together with Biotonomy, where we basically built a hydroponic vertical garden on the facade of a building, but we added the function to it by reusing the gray water of the building to irrigate the vertical garden. That way we have a vertical garden that doesn't use any water, any fresh water, but it's helping to reuse the wastewater of the building. And in our buildings as well, we always integrate food production. And because of the challenges with the building regulations, we've only been able to use gray water, but Fabio will mention a little bit the benefits of also actually using black water. Then this challenge brought up the whole idea of making development projects becoming ecosystem restoration projects. And we're right now working on projects in Europe where we're basically turning development projects into restoration projects. And all of these trends that I just explained, we're offering training sessions. We have a training session. We have a project coming up in Austria where we're inviting students from all over the world to come and join us to build this building together with us. And they get to learn how to use and implement these nature-based solutions in their projects. So lastly, if you would like to join some of our programs, please follow us on social, and we'll announce our training programs as they're coming up. And I'm passing it over to you, Fabio.
Thanks, Moein, and good afternoon, everybody. So I'm one of the founders of a company based in Italy called IRIDRA. It's like 25 years that we are mainly dealing with the water pollution control by nature-based solutions. So namely, we started designing constructed wetlands. It was still in the 90s, and it was a quite early phase, at least in Southern Europe, for this kind of technique. Since the very beginning, as background, I'm an environmental chemist, so I see all the external world as a complex reactor full of complex chemical reaction and transformations, and that's exactly the concept I try to fit immediately in the mindset of the company designers, just proposing to them to have every specific design that we have done in 25 years as a specific case where a tailored solution should have been chosen. And what is it meaning with the tailored design is that when you deal with nature-based solutions, you are dealing with very complex systems that are needing a multidisciplinary approach. And more than the multidisciplinary approach is then all this is bringing to a multi-purpose design. So at the beginning, we were designing the treatment systems just with the aim to treat the wastewater and to get very good results out of it, 90% of removal of these, 99% of the other, and so on. And then year by year, our concept has then shifted in making, in coupling, let's say, the circular economy approaches to the nature-based solutions. And this is meaning that we are trying to optimize every time the usage of resources. In all this, where we are doing the more trendy topics at the moment is exactly in our research and development department, where we are dealing with European funded projects, and I'm just citing a few of them for following what Moein was announcing just a few minutes ago. And for instance, we are at the very end of a project called HydroUSA, where we have installed a nature-based solution coupled with an anaerobic reactor and an UV disinfection for making use of mixed black water and gray water produced by a village in Greece for then irrigating crops. And we are testing several kinds of crops. So there is already a link in between the wastewater sector and the farmers. We are starting to have this kind of communication. And so we are trying to produce a water which is still rich of nutrients. Climate challenge is one of the 3 biogeochemical cycles that have been strongly disrupted by we humans in the last 200 years. Carbon is one, but then we have the nutrients, nitrogen and phosphorus. And we can deal with those nutrients only if we work with the black water. The gray water, unluckily, and luckily from the other point of view, has very few nutrients as chemical content. So we need to deal with the black water just for going in the direction of the water reuse directive, which is going to be implemented in Europe starting from this year, where it's strongly advised, and I mean, it will be needed now that the water scarcity is becoming a real big issue in Europe. And the only way we will have to deal with the water scarcity from one side and the nutrients scarcity that we are going to deal in the next century from the other point of view, just making reuse of treated effluents. And we have to treat the effluents at the point in which the farmers are happy to get that quality of water as our effluent. I mean, we have to give them the right amount of nutrients, because this will be a lot of saving even in the fertigation practices. And that's one sector. We are then working in other 2 projects. One is still one horizon called NICE, and the other is an NECBC Med, so for the Mediterranean basin, which is called NAWAMED. And over there, we are already realizing demo systems, which are green walls in full scale. I mean, some tens of square meters or hundreds of square meters of green walls, which are treating the gray water for then recycling the gray water inside the building itself. Just consider that at city level, the gray water is 70% of what we put from the houses in the sewers. So learning how to recycle that water even more than one time can be really a good practice. And it's a big opportunity in terms of green jobs creation and a green economy, let's say, because every house should have its own gray water recycled system that can be part of the aesthetic, just putting it outside and making a lot of other function, isolating the building, interacting with air pollution, creating aesthetic, making CO2 stock. So there are really a lot of actions that green can do more than just recycling the gray water. And that's one sector we are really trying to develop. And with the NICE project, we are working mainly on walls and roofs, still for giving green functions to these unused spaces in the city. Instead, in the NAWAMED project, we are mainly working with green walls installations and ground-based installations, which are still the cheaper. And that's another point I want to touch. If we compare the ground installations, like to make a simple vertical flow, small wetland in the garden, with making a green wall, at the moment, we will find that the green wall is like 5 times to 50 times more expensive than the ground installation. And a lot of times, the availability of space in cities is a big issue. And if we don't have enough space in the garden for building up our nature-based solution for recycling the gray water, then we will have to go up the walls or over the roofs. And this is opening another big point. I mean, we need all the components suppliers, which are then designing and producing at an affordable cost the very simple components that we are needing for realizing this kind of structure, which are pots, the filling material, and so on. And all these can be linked to the circular economy, but still we are exactly in that research phase in which we are trying to optimize and to go down with costs in order to make this kind of technique more widely acceptable.
Very good.
Yeah,
great. Guys, thank you very much for that. We're just going to pop up a quick question again, a final poll. And a big thank you to Fabio and Moein. We'd again love to have people talk for much longer. I think there was some great insightful conversations there, particularly in relation to green buildings and those closed water recycling for the grey water and the black water waste. I think was fascinating. But that's all we have time for today, I'm afraid. We have run over by 10 or 11 minutes, everybody. So thanks to everybody for your time today. And if people could answer that final question, we would like to say a big thank you to some of the projects that are involved in sponsoring this event, from Go Green Roots and Maya, Invest for Nature, NBS EduWorld, and of course the European Commission. And NICE as well, which has just been mentioned. There's now a link up there as well. So thanks again to everybody for joining. We still have over 150 people, 175 still on the call. So thank you for your attention. And we will have a recording of this spliced and diced and up on the platform by tomorrow afternoon. And hopefully you'll join us for future webinars and sessions on the platform. We'd love to see you there engaging on the different community. Thanks again to everybody. We hope you have a wonderful day ahead.